Seamus Donahue of EVE University, and this is episode 5 of How to Survive EVE Online. In this episode, we are going to go through the military chain. So look for the career military agent in your station for Center for Advanced Studies in Klalanon, that's Seville Aeron. Cash flow for Capsuleers, 1 out of 10. And our objective here is to clear the pirates from the asteroid belt. Right? So this is a simple go out and kill things mission. Click accept and close. And let's see, what am I going to need? I don't need the mining laser. Hold on. Which ship do I want to use for this actually? I'll use the Velator. So let me strip my Venture. Switch into the Velator. Since it's actually bonused for weapons. Drag on my charges into the cargo hold. Fit my armor repair. I have my afterburner. I have my light electron blaster 1. And you know what? Let me get another light electron blaster 1. These are not expensive. So right click, buy one of these. That's good enough. Fit the other one on there. Shift. I'm going to hold down the shift key and click and drag one module onto the other, and that groups them. Now I just need to use one button to activate them rather than 2. Let's close that, and undock. Let's go to the mission.
Warp drive active.
Alright. So different weapons have different ranges and capabilities and such. Alright. Right now, you are using blasters. At least you're using blasters if you're Galente. I presume the Minmatar tutorials will have you using autocannons, the Amarians will have you using pulse lasers. I'm not sure about the Caldari. But for the Galente, at least, you have been using blasters for the most of this time. And if you mouse over it, it says fall-off range within 2,000 meters, optimal range within 500 meters. Right? That means that for a stationary target, stationary relative to you, you are guaranteed to hit it at 500 meters, and you have a 50% chance to hit it at another 1,500 meters beyond that. 500 plus 1,500 is 2,000 meters. And let me hit C, and see where this thing is. I'm going to approach it. You know what? It's behind a gigantic rock, so I'm going to double left click in space, and I'm going to turn on my afterburner. So I need to get within... Oh, you know what? It's not behind a giant rock. That's just perspective messing with me. Turn off the afterburner, full stop. And let me double left click to get closer to it. Or I can click the orbit button, and it'll start orbiting within a distance of 1,000 meters. And I'm going to push F1. Now, I have 2 of these weapons fit, but they're grouped together, so there's a numeral 2 in a red box to indicate that they are grouped. And let's see, where are the others? There's 1, and there are the other 2. Okay, so I'm going to go after those. So I have to get within 2,000 meters to have a reasonable chance of hitting these things. However, besides range, there is another factor that's involved in whether or not a turret will hit its target, and that is called the tracking speed. You know what, let me orbit this guy. Alright, and get these target locks going. and turn off the afterburner. So if I right-click and show info, besides the accuracy fall-off in the optimal range, there's a quantity here called tracking speed/accuracy, 0.438 radians per second. There's another quantity here called the signature resolution, which is 40 meters. So for a target that is within optimal range, if I'm shooting a 40-meter signature radius target, I'll have a 50% chance to hit it if it's going around me at 0.438 radians per second. Right. This would be a good time to bring up a new overview column. So if I left-click the overview menu and open the overview settings, note, I don't advise messing around with your overview in a live combat situation, but these tutorial rats are very weak, so I'm not worried. If we go to the Columns tab, let's turn on Velocity, Radial Velocity, and Angular Velocity, and close the Overview Settings tab. And we can click and drag these headers to make them a little smaller. And the angular velocities, you'll see, are noted in radians per second. I can compare these radians per second to the tracking speed on my guns. So my blasters will track at 438 milliradians per second, 0.438 radians per second, and they're going around me much slower than that. So this one guy is only going around me at 0.255, the other's going at 0.299. So I'm okay. So if I start shooting, they start blowing up. Full stop. Alright, he got more than 2,000 meters away from me, so my guns are not hitting anymore. So I'm gonna wait for him to get closer. He's gonna get a little closer. Now I start shooting. And he explodes. Alright, so those are the two primary reasons that turrets will miss. Either the target is too far away, or it's moving around you too quickly. These blasters are short-range weapons. They've got very small ranges, but very good tracking speeds. That Corelli Initiate is somehow embedded inside the structure. Wonderful. How am I going to get to that guy? It looks like this NPC tried to force its way through the structure to get to me. By the way, collision surfaces may not necessarily match graphics surfaces. Notice them starting to bump off the rock even though I'm not visibly touching it. And of course I just passed through walls. I'm gonna loot everything. And I'm gonna get clear of this structure. So yeah, turrets can miss because it's too far away or because it's moving around you in circles too quickly. Right. Now that I'm clear of the structure, I believe I'm done with the mission. So I'm going to return to the station. And let me actually go to my journal. The Agents tab, Mission sub-tab. Yes, it's a green check mark. I'm done with the mission. Now the agent is going to give us as a reward a 75mm Gatling rail. This is a railgun. It's a long-range weapon, at least compared to our blasters. So if we show info on it, its optimal range is 6,000 meters, its accuracy fall-off is 3,000 meters. So I can hit targets out to 9 kilometers away rather than the 2 kilometers on my blasters. But notice that the downside here is that the tracking speed is only 0.1365 radians per second. That's 1/3 of the tracking speed I'm getting from my blasters. A little less than 1/3, actually.
Docking request accepted.
Right, so you need to be careful of that when choosing between long-range and short-range guns. Short-range guns are more likely to miss because a target is far away. Long-range guns are more likely to miss because a target is moving around the user too quickly. Let's talk to Lake Mencier, complete the mission, and request the next mission. And let's see. Cash flow for Capsuleers. He wants us to retrieve some civilians. So eliminate the pirates and rescue the civilian miner they are holding us captive. Alright? And that will be here in Clelaman. And he's also going to give us a skill book just for accepting the mission. It's called Motion Prediction. Can I inject this? Yes, I can. So let's go to the training queue. I'm going to slot in Motion Prediction Level 1. By the way, it's been about 5.5 hours since I filmed the previous episode. Alright. So, I'm going to undock. Right-click empty space, cache flow for Capsuleers, encounter, warp to location.
Warp drive active.
Control R to reload. By the way, you can also get an estimate of how much damage you cause per shot, per module. So damage caused here is 33 kinetic damage, 23 thermal damage. I'm pretty sure that's per module, yes? No, it is not. So per module it's 16 and 12, respectively. So if you mouse over a group of weapons, it shows you per volley. Alright. Let's approach one of these rats. Let's hit C to figure out which direction they're in. And that's a long way away, so I'm going to activate the afterburner. That way I'm moving at 710 meters per second rather than 350. That'll cover the distance much more quickly. Hit C again because I want to release my camera. Start target locking. The other guy is too far away for me to target lock. Now I clicked this guy. You know what? I can hold down middle click and orbit. And start shooting. And he explodes. Left click the other guy. He's in under 2,000 meters. Start shooting. Control spacebar. I forgot to issue an orbit command. F1 to stop my weapons because I'm not hitting anything. Control left click to target lock the last enemy. Alright. Double left click off to the side here to kill some of my forward momentum, then let's turn off the afterburner. I'm overshooting targets quite a lot. And open fire. New targets. Start orbiting. I'm approaching them at 335 meters per second. They're coming at me at 218, so the radial velocity is negative 554. Of course, it's not strictly addition. there is basically vector math involved here. Alright, the last thing to die dropped a cargo container. Left click on it, open cargo. Loot everything. Keeping in mind you have to be within 2,500 meters to loot. Let's loot this last cargo here, which is probably just metal scraps. Oh, there's a wreck I forgot to loot. So I'm going to open cargo on that and pulse the afterburner. By pulse, I mean I turn it on, then turn it off immediately, but it'll still run for one full cycle. Control R to reload. Loot everything. I'm done. Let's go back to station.
Warp drive active. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Let's talk to the agent, complete the mission, and he gives us a new ship type, an Atron. Let's request the next mission. Destroy some pirates, loot the secret documents from the container you leave behind, report back to your agent, and you'll be granted a pair of 75mm Gatling Rail 1s. So let's accept that mission. And the game's going to throw text at you about stasis webifiers. Which will be useful to you, so... No, that's not the fitting window. Let's open the fitting window. I'm going to strip my ship, double-click my ship in the hangar, Control-A to left-click in the cargo holds, Control-A, select all, drag it down. And stack everything, and let me assemble my new Atron. Because if I take a look at the description for the Atron, I have bonuses to small hybrid turret damage and small hybrid turret fall-off range. So it can reach out a little bit further and do more damage. Whereas with the Velotor, and this is per level of the Galente frigate skill, which I have up to level 3. So it's a 30% bonus to fall off, 15% bonus to damage. Whereas with the Velotor, it's only a 10% bonus to damage, and that's it. There are no other bonuses to hybrid weapons on my Velotor. And it's a flat bonus, so that does not go up with Galente frigate skill. So with my Atron, let me rename it Atron. Where did my railguns go? Here we go. So I have 3 railguns now. All 3 were given to me by the agent. None of them are mission loot, so you should have 3 railguns. Hopefully the same applies for the other racial tutorials. I'm going to throw on my afterburner, my small armor repair. Ah yes, my civilian stasis weapon fire. For a moment, propulsion jamming is a skill book they'll give me as a reward. Okay. Right, I think I'm good here. I have pretty much everything I need, so let's bring on board the antimatter charges, load them into the weapon. Mouse over it. I'm sorry, hold on. One other thing I forgot to mention. If you mouse over these weapons, with the applied bonuses, both from your skills and from the ship, you'll see that right-click, show info. Optimal range is 6,000 meters. Accuracy fall-off is 3,900 meters. So optimal plus fall-off is 9,900 meters. So that's why optimal is within 6,000 and fall-off is within 9,900. These are the overall distances. If I load the antimatter charges and mouse over it again, now it says optimal is only within 3,000, fall off is within 6,900. Still much better than my blasters, but the ammunition itself is changing the optimal range on my weapons. If I show info on the ammo, range bonus minus 50%. So it's reducing my optimal range. If the ammunition affected my fall-off range, it would use the word fall-off specifically. You'll see that on the Tech 2 ammunitions. I don't think you will see that on any Tech 1 ammunition. All right. So it reduces the optimal range, but it's more damaging than any other hybrid ammunition type. I have everything I need. I'm going to undock. Now, the civilian stasis weaponifier that was given to me by the in-game tutorial window, it's a propulsion jamming module. It interferes with a ship's ability to maneuver at sublight speed. If I right-click on this and show info, it will apply to a target within 10 kilometers, and it will reduce their maximum velocity by 35%. So they're going to go 35% slower at sublight speed while I'm using this civilian stasis weaponifier on them. So if you want to make a target slow down so that you can hit it more easily, a stasis weaponifier will help. Alright. So, which of these things are closer? There's a bunch of things here. I'll get these guys. Of course, they all decide they want to shoot at me. And as soon as they get within 9 kilometers, I'm going to open fire. And full stop. Destroy the other Corelli Initiate. Alright. Oh, I got a lucky shot on that one. I was expecting to miss. So here's a runner drone, and it's moving at 300 meters per second, so if I turn on the civilian stasis weaponifier, now it's going a lot slower. It's going 195 meters per second. That makes it an easier target to hit. And the target needs to be within 6,900 meters, not 9,900. I need to remember that. Alright, and we've got this other guy called Wolf off at 98 kilometers. He's just there for show. If you want to expand out your local window, you'll find that the NPC is talking to you. Don't bother talking back to the NPC. Alright, loot the secret documents. All well and good. Let's start looting the wrecks. Loot all. And let's loot the last wreck. By the way, another thing about the Atron compared to the Velator, it's much faster. The Velator was 350 without an afterburner and 710 with an afterburner, whereas my Atron, if you mouse over the afterburner module, 483 without and 1008 with. So the Atron is generally faster than a Velator. By the way, it's also worth noting that the rookie ships warp, I believe, at 3 astronomical units per second, whereas the Tech 1 frigates warp at 6 astronomical units per second. So the Tech 1 frigates will cross a large solar system faster than a rookie ship will, while in warp.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Alright, talk to the agent. Everything's green check marks. Complete the mission. Request next mission. Warp to a we need to investigate a Stargate. This one's going to be very simple. Let's just click accept. And close. And let's undock. And let's warp to the mission. And let me return my local window back to normal. And the game's going to throw text at you about tanking. And it's going to spawn a civilian shield booster for you for some odd reason that I'm not sure about. I'll give you this short version. Every ship has structure, armor, and shields. You've been noticing that this entire time. It is possible to optimize the shield layer to sustain battle damage. It is possible to optimize the armor layer to sustain battle damage. Serious combat ships will not try to do both. Alright. My sensors have found nothing in the area other than this lone Stargate, partly hidden inside a cluster of rock formations. I would advise you to proceed with care. Smuggler gates such as these are rarely left undefended. Your agent instructed you to approach the Stargate. Be ready to retreat should the need arise. So I'm going to approach this thing. So I held down my middle mouse button because I switched radial menus to the middle mouse button, or I can right click on it and hit approach. Either works. And I'm keeping an eye on which direction I came from, because I may need to run in that direction, or just warp off to something behind me. If I widen the local channel again, basically it's a trap.
Skill training completed.
It's supposed to be a trap. The mission has been completed. Report back to your agent. There's supposed to be a description. Aha, here we go. The smuggler Stargate is hitting me because it is doing damage to me. There's supposed to be text in the local channel about how dangerous gases are spewing out of it. I wonder what happened to that. Anyway, we're done here. Make sure you are clear to warp back to the station. By the way, you can also warp to any other celestial object that you happen to find in the background that is in a convenient direction. You might need to pan your camera around to look for such an object, but it's always an option. Basically, get close to the object, set off a scripted trap, pre-programmed trap, and then warp out. That's the entire mission. Nothing complicated. By the way, if you take shield damage, whenever you dock in a station, your shields are automatically recharged to full, so is your capacitor. Armor and hull damage have to be repaired by some means. The station will not fix that automatically. There is a repair shop in a lot of stations, but not all stations, and you can pay to in station to have armor and hull repaired. Let's see, start conversation, complete mission, request next mission. The game talks to you about afterburners. Meet up with a pirate at the repair outpost, follows instructions, and report back to your agent. Accepts the mission. By the way, drop off any loot that you have. And we're going to close and undock. The game throws text at you about damage types. Hold on, let's actually get ourselves into warp, then continue talking. So the game talks to you about damage types, and there are 4 types of damage: electromagnetic, thermal, kinetic, and explosive. Right? and you have different resistances for these different types of damage. As Galente, you are using blasters and railguns, which do kinetic and thermal damage. Right? Amarian lasers deal out electromagnetic and thermal damage. Minmatar autocannons can deal out different mixtures of damage depending upon what ammo you have loaded, and missiles can do a single pure damage type. Alright, so here, the pirate who wants to meet you throws some text at you. Come join the Serpentis. And now I want to test you. So close that, target lock him at your convenience after you've finished reading everything, and start shooting. And you know what? I probably should have webified him to make an easier target. Nicely done. Perhaps we will meet some other day. For now, I'll be making my way back to base in my capsule. Let's loot the wreck and go back to station.
Warp drive active. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Hold on, let me check something real quick. Yeah. Alright, talk to the agent. We have a green check mark. Complete the mission. And request next mission. And destroy Wolf's outpost. We will find it in the final room of the complex. So click accept. And close. And let me dump off all of the extra loot that I've obtained. And let me open up my fitting window, make sure I still have everything that I need or can use. Yeah, that's okay. And let's undock. And let's warp to the mission.
Warp drive active.
You know what? I should reload my weapon. And here we land on an acceleration gate. So I'm going to use the radial menu and activate gate. Again, I set my radial menu to be hold down the middle mouse button on the thing, but by default it's hold down the left mouse button. Again, you can change that in the escape options. Alright, let's start target locking things. Looks like the gate is guarded. You'll have to take care of the guards before you can get through. So if you try to activate this gate, the gate is locked. There are synchronized gate scramblers on all hostile entities in this dead space pocket. Unless you are physically inside one of them to unscramble the signal, you must simply clear the vicinity of enemy ships. So grab your guns. You know what? I'm going to wait for them to come to me, and they have to get within 7,000 meters. Their firepower is weak enough that I can just sit here and take the beating. Start shooting. Start shooting. Start shooting again. There we go. I was wondering why I wasn't activating. By the way, if I did not group my weapons, I would have to push F1, F2, and F3 for each thing separately. Alright, like that. That's a little bit less convenient than just simply having them grouped. So give me a moment to make sure my ammunition levels in the three weapons are identical, and then I will group them up again. Alright, shift left click and drag, shift left click and drag, they're grouped again. I'm going to start shooting again. As long as I'm here, I might as well loot while I'm waiting for them to get closer. Alright, so... I was expecting to miss that one. Yeah, these aren't really good examples of high angular velocity targets out-tracking my guns, because my guns are still able to keep up with them. Yeah, 0.143325. Double left click to open the cargo, loot everything. Double left click to open that cargo, loot everything. All of these other rec icons are hollow, so I will activate the next gate. Looks like you found the pirate outpost. Your instructions were to destroy it. I would recommend leaving loot in the wreck after you obliterate the structure. You would not want to be caught trying to jump between systems with contraband in your cargo hold. The local security forces do not look kindly upon such activity. I think that blurb was tacked on the wrong mission. I'll explain why later. Okay, so here is Wolf's Outpost. I am going to right-click on it and select Orbit, Current, 3,193 meters. Control left click. I'm going to start shooting it. And pop goes the outpost. Let me orbit this sentry gun at 2,500 meters and shoot these Corelli initiates. I hate how bright the background is. Alright, so the angular velocity here is very high. 0.2, it was 0.4 briefly. Now it's dropped to 0.169, 163, and now I should be able to get better shots on it. So that was a good example of the angular velocity being too high for my guns to handle. Angular velocity, by the way, is a reciprocal relationship. Right? So if my angular velocity on a target is 0.2 radians per second, its angular velocity on me is also 0.2 radians per second. Just in the same sense that distance is a reciprocal relationship. If I'm 2 kilometers away from that guy is 2 kilometers away from me. And the tracking speed of your weapons care about the angular velocity. So right now, these 2 defense sentries are trying to shoot at me. But they're missing completely because I'm going around them in circles. Unfortunately, the game does not show you angular velocities for a stationary object like a sentry gun. So I can't really demonstrate that very well off the overview. But if I full stop, like this, Wolf's Defense Sentry misses you completely. Wolf's Defense Sentry penetrates, grazes, hits. Penetrates. I'm taking shield damage. See how my shields are going down like this. Alright, but if I select Orbit, and I start orbiting again, now they miss. So there you have a demonstration of angular velocity and tracking speed. A very important thing to understand about turrets. Alright? Now with that being said, I want these things to die sooner rather than later, so I'm going to full stop and pound down their defenses. I've still got my armor and my structure layers, so the fact that half of my shields are gone is not something I'm worried about. Additionally, I have an armor repair module fit to my ship, and it's not going to do me any good unless my armor layer is taking damage. For armor tankers, the shield is a throwaway layer. You expect your shields to go down, and then the real fighting begins. That was probably my shield alarm. Unfortunately, it's extremely quiet due to a bug. And you know what? I want to get closer to that defense sentry to get it within my optimal range so that I will damage it faster. Shots that miss don't do damage. Alright, I'm going to start running my armor repair module and fix this armor damage that I'm taking. There we go, my armor is back up. Now, the blurb of text warns you about contraband, but these items are not contraband. If they were contraband, there'd be a skull and crossbones icon on them, and if you right-click and show info, you would see a legality tab. Alright, there's no legality tab on these things. There's no skull and crossbones icon. They're not contraband. So you're fine to loot everything, and as a matter of fact, let me see if there are any other wrecks to loot. There are not. By the way, this is a mission with asteroids that you might want to consider mining if you're into that sort of thing. But it's part of the mission. Once you turn in the mission back at the station, this all disappears. Alright? So don't turn in the mission yet if you care about mining. If you don't care about mining, just go ahead and turn in the mission now, and for the purposes of the video, that's exactly what I'm going to do. That's a general rule that applies to mineable asteroids that appear as part of a mission space. Control R to reload. By the way, your shields will naturally regenerate over time. On my Atron, it'll take about 2.5 minutes, or 148.5 seconds, to get almost a full recharge on the shields if I just sit by myself in space.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Talk to the agent. Complete the mission. Request the next mission. Alright, destroy the pirates at the convoy ambush site. If you get low on hit points, warp out and regenerate, then warp back in. So let's click accept. Game's going to throw text at you about armor tanking. Let's close this. I want to dump off all the loot that I picked up. Now let's undock. Right-click, cache flow for Capsuleers, encounter warp to location.
Warp drive active.
And while... You know what? I wanted to talk about salvaging at some point during this series. Did I train up the prereqs for that? No, I did not. That needs Mechanics 3. What's my skilled Q train look like? Alright, Mechanics 3 is scheduled to complete in about 6 hours. Alright. So I guess I will cover salvaging during the advanced military chain at some point. Alright. Where are those Corelli initiates? They are off in that direction. C again to release the camera, and I will pulse my afterburner. Now maybe I'm close enough to target lock. Full stop. I'm going to shoot once to get their attention, but I'm not going to hit them. More of them have shown up. I'm going to start left clicking to start moving closer to one group than another. Right click, open cargo, everything. Where are these other... Oh, there he is. I'm going to double left click off in that direction. I can't target lock these. Oh, can I? Did I train targeting level 2 while I wasn't looking? I must have. Alright, my shields are low. Soon my armor will start taking damage. You know what? He's just outside my optimal plus fall off. Let me go for this guy. I'm going to turn on my armor repair to repair the damage that I am taking. Kind of important. Start shooting this other guy. Now, this is probably a good point to talk about capacitor. I'm running an armor repair module, which uses capacitor energy, and it's keeping my armor intact. Right? As long as I've got capacitor energy, I can keep taking tanking this damage. But if I leave it running too long, my capacitor will run empty. So I really should turn off the armor repair module. Alright, so that I can have capacitor energy for later. My capacitor will recharge on its own, slowly, but it is possible to overtax it. Very important to keep in mind. Your capacitor recharge rate is determined by a couple of things: the size of your capacitor and the recharge time. Divide one by the other, you get your average capacitor recharge rate. Multiply by 2.5, and you get your capacitor recharge rate at your peak recharge rate. Capacitors always recharge fastest when they are only 25% full. Above or below 25% full, they recharge slower than their peak. So size divided by time, multiply by 2.5. That's capacitor recharge rate in EVE Online. For those of you who are electrical engineers, you're not imagining things. That is not a real capacitor, obviously. Alright, so I can't run my armor repair all the time. I have to turn it on only when I need it, and turn it off when I don't need it. Otherwise, I'm going to have a problem where I have run out of capacitor energy. Loot this last wreck here. Alright, I'm done. I'm going to go back to station.
Warp drive active.
Alright, so if I keep running my armor repair when I don't need it, notice that I'm now below 25%. My capacitor recharge rate is getting slower and slower as a result. As a matter of fact, let me actually demonstrate what happens. Let me hit Control Spacebar to abort the docking process. And also... Now the armor repair has shut off. If I ran out of capacitor energy and I was still being shot at, my armor layer would start taking damage, and I wouldn't be able to repair it. That's a bad situation to be in, so you need to understand whether or not your ship is capacitor stable. There are modules that can help you with capacitor stability. Right? So on the fitting window, you'll see that the delta here is negative 5.9 gigajoules per second. That means that if I have all of my capacitor-using modules running, the hybrid guns, the afterburner, the stasis webifier, the armor repair, if I have it all running all the time, then even at the peak recharge rate, I'm still 5.9 gigajoules per second short. I cannot generate enough capacitor energy to keep all of this running. Right? There are skills that will help. That is why I advised you earlier to get certain skills in the engineering category, namely energy systems operation and energy management. All right? Energy management increases the size of your capacitor. Energy systems operation reduces the capacitor recharge time. Both of these increase that rate that I was telling you about. Energy grid upgrades is a prerequisite for certain modules that help with capacitor. Namely the... Hold on, let me use the level 4. Namely the capacitor batteries, and I think also the capacitor rechargers. Yeah, the cap rechargers. Alright. Should also be the capacitor power grid, right? I mean the capacitor power relay. Let me check that in the market. So yeah, a capacitor power relay also needs energy grid upgrades. So capacitor power relay and cap recharger and capacitor batteries are all modules that will help with your capacitor situation, to varying degrees depending upon what it is that you need. Right? So cap stability is an important thing to be aware of. I've digressed enough. Let's talk to the agent and turn in this mission. Request the next mission. Fly to the hotel your agent mentioned and retrieve the very important people. If something is amiss, then report back to your agent with the details. Strange. I don't see an item requirement for a retrieval mission. But what can go amiss? Let's click accept. Let's close this. And you know what? I've got spare blow slots available, and I've got a couple of things called overdrive injectors. Right now, my speed without an afterburner is 483 meters per second. I can improve that. Throw that on, throw that on. Now I can go 581 meters per second without the afterburner, and the afterburner bonuses the normal speed. So without the overdrive injector systems, or if I offline them, my speeds are 483 and 1008. With the overdrive injector systems, my speeds are 581 and 1214. So those are helpful, so I'm going to keep those on there. I wonder why Dominic's battleship is outside the station. Anyway. The game's going to throw text at you about the overview settings. It's good to read that. I will let you do that on your own. But basically, playing around with the overview settings is kind of important. I have a separate video for the EVE University Overview Setup Guide. Alright, we are at the mission. So, what we are going to do, you need to approach that thing. Alright? It is a large collidable structure, and basically, if you open your overview settings and you go to filters, probably shouldn't have closed that thing so soon. Let's see, where is large collidable structures again? Here we go. So it's under entity. Unfortunately, large collidable structures a poor choice here because all of these other things and nonsense are also large collidable structures. So that's kind of useless. Basically, just approach the end. Left-click that thing and hit approach. And know what's behind you. It's a trap. Time to double-click in the opposite direction and hit the afterburner and get the hell out of here. If you want to shoot these rats, you can, but your mission is done. So I'm going to return to station. And let me also run my armor repair.
Warp drive active.
By the way, if I did not fix my own armor damage, I would need to pay the station repair shop to fix that for me. If I took hull damage and I wanted to fix that myself, I would need a hull repairer. I do not advise bringing a hull repairer into combat, though. That's a very bad idea. Hull repairers are extremely slow. The only reason you use a hull repairer is to undock from a station, run your hull repairers, and then dock back up again. And then take off the hull repairs. Take off the hull repair modules.
Docking permission requested.
But armor repair modules can be useful in combat.
Docking request accepted.
Talk to the agent, complete the mission, and request the next mission. And destroy the narcotics warehouse, report back to your agent. Let's click accept, and click close. And let's see, are there any skill books that we forgot about? Propulsion jamming, probably. Let me inject as many as I can here. I can't just simply click the whole range and then inject skill because it stops on the first error it encounters, and it won't inject any other skill books even if they qualify. Alright, so I'm going to undock. Right click, encounter dead space, warp to location. Control R to reload my guns, and how much spare ammunition do I still have? I still have 2,000 charges. Alright, I'm good. Alright. By the way, not all acceleration gates are locked. I believe there was at least one case of an acceleration gate in one of these tutorial missions that wasn't locked. Maybe it's this one. I'm about to find out. Okay, it is not locked, so I do not need to bother with these Serpentis rookies.
Warp drive active.
The mission here is to destroy the narcotics warehouse. So I'm going to double left click in space, hit my afterburner, and let me left click that barren asteroid and look at it so I can get a better look here at what's going on. radioactive cargo rig, narcotics warehouse. That's the thing. Center my camera, reset my camera. Control spacebar to full stop, and I'm also going to turn off my afterburner here. Keep in mind, full stop and turn off afterburner are two separate operations. I'm going to select this closest apprentice rookie and start stasis whipifying it. Hold on, let me look at this narcotics warehouse. Narcotics, boosters, hallucinogenics, stimulants, pharmaceuticals, medicine, low prices. Yeah, wonderful place, isn't it? I'm sitting still and these guys are still missing. They're terrible shots. Alright, if I actually go loot this cargo container... Now this drop has a skull and crossbones icon on it. If I right-click and show info, it has a legality tab. Caldari State, Minotaur Republic, Amara Empire, Galente Federation, Jove Empire, Concord Assembly, Amatar Mandate, and so on and so forth. The customs NPCs at the Stargate will stop you for these things. You don't want to be carrying them. So that blurb 2 missions ago about contraband, this is the stuff that that blurb was talking about. Let me loot these other wrecks. Metal scraps. Metal scraps, alright. I'm not going to stick around here. So, anything with skull and crossbones icon on it is contraband. Anything with a legality tab in its show info is contraband. And I had just enough space to align to warp that I didn't have to go around that rock. I was probably a kilometer or two short of bumping the rock and having to go around as a result, or back up. Oh look, a yellow diamond. Do not loot yellow diamonds, they are bad for your health.
Docking permission requested. Docking requested.
Alright, talk to the agent. Complete the mission. Request the next mission. Cash flow for Capsuleers, 10 out of 10. Find Wolf, take him out once and for all. And he's going to grant us 8 Tristan. Let's accept the mission. And close the agent conversation window. Now, the Tristan has different bonuses from the Atron. The Tristan has a bonus to small hybrid turret tracking speed, so it can hit targets that are moving in circles around it a bit more easily. But it also has a 10% bonus to drone tracking and hit points. Drones are not something that I've covered yet. It's also not something we've trained. But the advanced military chain for the Galente will give you a drone skill book. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. Additionally, the Tristan only has 2 turret hard points, whereas my Atron has 3 turret hard points. So I'm better off sticking with the Atron, not only because I've got more turrets, but also because I've got bonuses to small hybrid turret damage. So I'm going to stick with the Atron for now. I'm going to undock. Hold on, aboard undock. Let me dump off my loot. Now I'm going to undock. And let's go to the mission space, which is Equenbiron, which is 2 jumps out. So I'm going to right-click the station and add waypoint, because I want to come back here. Luce, I can right-click Luce and jump through Stargate. I forgot I could do that. That's a relatively new feature. Alright, so the mission is 2 jumps away. I'm going to skip ahead.
Warp drive active.
Alright, I have just arrived in Equenbiron. And let's warp to location. Control R to reload, because that is such a good idea.
Warp drive.
Nice to go in with full guns, rather than 7/8 full guns. And check my cargo hold. I do have plenty of spare ammunition. I've got enough for 3 full reloads, as a matter of fact. Alright, here's an acceleration gate. Left-click the gate, left-click the activate gate button.
Warp drive active.
Right-click the gate. Can I activate this gate? No, it is locked. Alright. Time to start killing. So I've double left-clicked in that direction to start moving, and I control left-click each of these things to target lock them, and I'm pulsing the afterburner once, just to close the range. And now control spacebar to full stop, F1 to shoot. Select the most distant target, F1 to shoot, select the other target, start to stasis webify. Now I start to shoot. Control left click each of these other targets, they're just about in range, F1 to shoot. F1 to shoot, click the other target, Alt F2, hold on, why didn't I... Right, if your guns are still cycling from the previous operation, they won't start shooting a new target when you hit F1. Let's see, cargo... Double click, single click, double click, and it'll approach. Loot everything. Alright, let me go back to my default tab here. Double click. Let me shoot that Corelli spy, because I think he likes to stay in range or something. Alt F2 to stasis webify him. Control spacebar to full stop. Control F to Alt F2 to stasis webify. F1 to shoot. I'm going to click the approach button. Hold on, I'm approaching the wrong thing. Left click this guy. The thing that you have selected for a shoot this may not be the thing in your selected item box. So I gotta left click my portrait, left click approach. Now I'm way too far away. I'm gonna turn on and off the afterburner. Alright. I'm gonna start looting everything. Control R to reload. Alright. I'm gonna go loot everything before I move on. You'll notice that there are some asteroids here, but they're of non-standard types. Flawed Gneiss and Fool's Crocite. You can't actually refine these into minerals, so they're not valuable for that purpose. I've not heard of any mission or anything really that makes use of Flawed Gneiss or Fool's Crocite. So you can mine these technically, but it's not useful for anything. The way you can tell is you can right-click and show info. Gneiss is a popular ore type because it has a bit of many minerals, increases utility value. Flawed Gneiss, however, has the same properties as Fool's Gold in the sense that it looks like the original but is worth almost nothing in comparison. Alright. Let's activate the acceleration gate. My ship is a little too far away, so it will approach first, and I haven't saved my overview settings since I changed my default tab, so let me load default general. That should fix it. Alright, I'm going to run through this a little bit more quickly, I hope. I have to get within 25 kilometers to target lock anything. Alright. F1, Alt F2, F1 again because it didn't pick up the first time. F1, Alt F2, F1, Alt F2, and open the cargo, and also Control left click the new targets. Loot all, switch to my utility tab, let's loot this other wreck, go back to my default tab. All. Now double left click in that direction to go around an obstacle, Alt F1 to hit my afterburner. By the way, weapons do not care about intervening obstacles. You can shoot through large objects like this, it's like the objects are not there. Control spacebar, Alt F click, Alt F2, F1, Control spacebar again, Alt F1 to turn off the afterburner. And a double left click in that direction, Alt F1 to turn on the afterburner. Alt F2, F1, Control spacebar, Alt F1. Again, for my fellow Macintosh users, it's Option instead of Alt. Left click the guy, left click approach. Control Control spacebar, control left click these two new things. Where is this wreck? C. Alright, double click, hit C again to release the camera. Back to the Vault tab. Loot all. Click a guy, click approach. Alt F1 to turn on the afterburner. Alt F1 again to turn it off. Alt F2 to slow this target down. F1 to shoot. Click the Corelli agent. Click approach. Alt F2 to slow him down. F1 to shoot. Control spacebar to full stop, because I don't want to get too close. Because if I get too close, it's easy to outtrack my own guns. Alright, let's loot this guy. Let's loot the other wreck. And there are no other wrecks with loot in them. Full stop. Why did I not loot the wreck? Alright. Right click acceleration gate, activate gate. Control R to reload.
Warp drive active.
Alright. Wolf's stasis tower, 2 Corelli spies, and a stolen Navy ship, and Wolf is inside the stasis tower. And he's stasis webifying me, so if I try to orbit him at 2,500 meters, you'll notice that I'm going rather slow. So that stasis tower is a bit of a threat. Normally my speed is 581, I'm moving at 143 instead. I'm going to turn on the afterburner. Normally with an afterburner running, my speed is 1214. I'm only going at about 300 instead. I don't like the amount of damage I'm taking, so I'm trying to reduce the damage that I take. Again, keep in mind capacitor management. This is not a cap-stable ship if I run everything. So I'm not turning on the armor repair until now. And I'm going to turn it off again after one cycle. As a matter of fact, there is something you can do. You can right-click the armor repair and set auto-repeat off. Now when I activate it, it'll shut off on one cycle on its own. Control spacebar to full stop, and let me stasis webify that stolen Navy ship. And there is Wolf. And if I show info on Wolf, this is an escape capsule which is released on instruction of one's ship. Turn off the afterburner, full stop. I'm going a lot faster now, so I'm out tracking my own guns. Shoot Wolf. And the mission is technically done. Grab whatever's in the cargo. Click the Corelli spy, click approach, hit my afterburner. And you know what? I really should repair my armor. Repair my armor again. I could leave now if I wanted to. I just feel like destroying these things. Let me repair my armor again. Control spacebar to full stop. Energy systems operation is complete. I now have a better capacitor. Alright, There's no loot left in any of the wrecks. I'm done. I'm heading back to Kolonon.
Warp drive active. Warp drive active. Warp drive active. Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted.
Alright, I am back in station. So I'm going to start conversation, complete the mission, and that completes the military chain. Alright. In the next episode, we are going to cover the advanced military chain, which is the last of the 5 career funnel hub chains. In the meantime, thank you for watching.